Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Bad Calls, Balls, and Brawls, episode 50. Like, what? Where did the time go? I can't believe we have hit 50 episodes, and the 50th episode should have been done weeks ago, but obviously been a little busy with the Heat and Panthers, and we're going to get all into that in a little bit. But happy 50th anniversary to the show, to you, to me, to everybody. Thank you guys for the support throughout the last year and a half, and we've made it to 50. So, woo, streamers go off 50th show tonight. Um, so let's just get right into it. There's so much going on in the world of South Florida sports. People have been asking, what is in the water? What do you mean what's in the water? And then you think about it, like Canes, FAU, Panthers, Heat, the Marlins. I mean, there's so much positivity and excitement that has happened in South Florida sports in just the last 6 months that, like, it's been a wild, wild ride. And I'm so excited to be a part of it and to cover it and to live it. So where do we begin? Um, Last week, unfortunately, the journey for the Panthers and the Heat did come to an end. Um, but let's just recap it. But before we recap it, Graham, happy 50th anniversary. Very happy to have you back. Yes, and people have said, why the hiatus? Well, when you have a playoff game going on every night within your hockey team and your basketball team, it's kind of hard to have a show. And then that one night where it's a break, like, you got to go food shopping and you got to, like, catch up on life. So that is the only reason for the hiatus, but we are back and excited to be here. And yes, Michael Fitty. Yes, I cannot believe it, right? Like, crazy. So here's to 50 more shows. And yes, feeling better. Thank you so much. Um, so last show we had the Panthers and the Heat kind of like slowly making their way into the playoffs as 8 seeds. And with the Heat, we had a playing game against the Hawks, and we did not win that game. So that led us to play the Chicago Bulls, and we won that game. Well, that game led us into the playoffs against the number one seeded Milwaukee Bucks, and not one person had us beating the Bucks respectfully. I mean, look at their lineup, everything from Chris Middleton to Giannis, and number one seed, and here we were, a number 8 seed who barely made the playoffs. And sure enough, we end up beating the Bucks last game, knocking them out at their own home. So that was great. And that was wild, right? Like, that was just like, oh my goodness. And that was the first time I kind of like sat back and said, hey, like, we may have something going on. Like, we just beat the Bucks. Like, whoa, slow it down. So that was crazy. So then on the other side, I'm not going to say the other side of 95, but a little up 95, we had the Florida Panthers, who also, barely made the playoffs and who were taking on the Boston Bruins, who are the number one seeded hockey team, the best regular season record in NHL history. So they were our first opponents, and we ended up beating them too. So here you go. A few weeks ago, you had the Florida Panthers and you had the Miami Heat, both knock out number one seed powerhouses, Milwaukee Bucks and Boston Bruins. And then it was like, oh my goodness. So after Florida Panthers beat the Bruins, they had the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that was an interesting series. And the fact that right going into the series, FLA Live, where they play, their home game, said, hey, listen, we're not selling any tickets to anybody who does not have U.S. citizenship, because they know, we all know, Canadians love their hockey. So if you had, like, residency in Canada, you are not allowed to buy tickets for that game. I mean, of course, you got around it and everything. And long story short, we ended up beating the Maple Leafs. So it was like, all right, cool. After the Maple Leafs, then we had the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina Hurricanes were a sneaky team. It's one of those teams where it's like, hey, anything can happen. End up beating them. And then we ended up in the Stanley Cup. Vegas, it was Dallas or Vegas, so we were eyeing them up the whole time. And it just seems that Vegas was the better team. Vegas has been a powerhouse pretty much all season. And to play against Vegas, and you think about it, like, hockey, it's so first of all, it's very much a Canadian North America sport. And in the Stanley Cup this year, you had Las Vegas and Florida. Kind of crazy to think about it, but boy, oh boy, was it a fun series. It did not end up how we wanted it to. Matthew Tkachuk was injured, and he ended up not playing. Really, during the Stanley Cup, you saw that he was injured, and it was really, really kind of sad to see him kind of like dwindle down, and he ended up not even playing in the last game, and obviously that was a really, really bad last game. But just the whole journey as a whole, and our goalie, Bob, I mean, when he needed to show up, he showed up, and our team really, really thrived in overtime games, and it was wonderful. I was very fortunate enough to go to Game 3 of the Stanley Cup, which was the only home game that they ended up winning in that series, and it was just so wonderful to see FLA Live packed and excited, and it was. I personally love that arena. Out of all, out of Lone Depot and Kaseya and even the Hard Rock, FLA Live is like probably is like my favorite experience from coming from a stadium arena perspective, because they just have their stuff together. And the excitement, and yes, you had fans come out of the woodwork and stuff, but I can very confidently tell you that hockey is not only back in Tampa, but South Florida. We are Panther Nation. We are so proud of, our Panthers throughout this postseason, making it to the Stanley Cup. We had no business even being there. And for us to, put our name on the map, it was a wonderful, wonderful journey. So nothing to hang the heads about. It was so much fun throughout the whole entire postseason. I really enjoyed one thing I really enjoyed was the pre and post game, right? That group of guys on TNT were fantastic. Like just their energy together and how they mingled, and when Gretzky and Paul Bissonnette, it was so fantastic. They did such a great job covering those games. And, hockey is not one of my diehard sports, but you couldn't help fall in love with the team even more, just hearing their commutation of the Panthers and the excitement. So shout out to the Panthers. It was a wonderful postseason run. Hashtag time to hunt, and our future's bright. I mean, we have a lot of talent on the team. My personal favorite player, Anthony Duclair, had some really great goals throughout the postseason. Sergio Bobrovsky, our goalie, fantastic, and obviously Matthew Tkachuk is just out of this world. So really excited to see the future with the Panthers. But again, guys, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. It is, again, our 50th anniversary of Bad Calls, Balls, and Brawls. This episode should have been done weeks ago, but I had to take a hiatus because I had my teams in a crazy playoff run. So I'm super excited to launch the 50th show tonight, when really there's nothing going on tonight. The Marlins had an afternoon game. We're all following the whole Tyreek Hill little story going on. So obviously a lot of you guys are Dolphin fans. That's why you follow me and everything. And, slowly but surely we're getting into football season, and I'm really, really excited. I'm sure you guys are as well. And just when you think like we're smooth sailing, bam, Tyreek Hill goes into the news. So basically what I'm hearing, and it's not funny. It's not, right? Nothing with assault's funny. But basically what I'm hearing is that Tyreek and a few of his buddies were supposed to go like on a charter boat down here. And something happened where maybe they weren't supposed to be on there. So Tyreek said, "Do you know who I am? I'm number 10 on the Dolphins." Well, we know who he is, but maybe not everybody else. So supposedly an argument escalated, and he slapped somebody in the back of the head, one of the crew. And you are right, Graham. So no charges have been filed. And so I just found out that the person who was hit had to file the charges, or now has to get to a state level. So from what it sounds like, it's kind of like it was just a ripple, like maybe it's going to die out and everything. Now, would the NFL maybe take a step further and say, hey, listen, this came about, Tyreek has a tracker incidents? Yeah, maybe the NFL might take a look into it, but legally, it sounds like Tyreek right now is out of the water of any charges. So that story is very ongoing. It only broke a few days ago. And it's crazy because we just had the Xavier Howard softball game, and it seemed like everybody was like on good terms, and, Tua, everything, and then it's like, what? Like, we're almost in football season, just chill, stay out of trouble. And then that happened. So, Graham, you said it best, no charges have been filed yet, but it is an ongoing investigation, ongoing story. And let's just hope that everything gets resolved and Tyreek keeps his hands to himself. I feel like I'm talking to a 5-year-old. Keep your hands to yourself. But we'll see how that all pans out. As far as, Dolphin season coming up, we're all excited, right? There's no containing our excitement. It's been a long off season for those who just like the Dolphins and maybe you don't care about the Heat or the Panthers. And, so I've been there where, it's like that long off season. But we're almost there, right? July is next week, and then July is camp, and August is preseason, September and football season. Just hang in there, and we are almost there. Graham, the league will only intervene if he places a bet on it. Well, we all know how that goes. NHL. Oh my gosh, I'm still for me to be on hockey mode. NHL loves to take things beyond the police department, even if the players aren't guilty. You are, and that's why I said, like, hey, there may not be legal charges, but I would not be surprised if the NFL goes and says, hey, a suspension possibly. But we'll see. But right now, it's pretty hush-hush down here. Like, obviously, the story broke. There's still a lot of details that aren't missing, but it seems like, again, Tyreek and his buddies went on a boat. People question, like, hey, who are you or whatever. Tyreek got a little mad, said number 10 on the Dolphins, and he slapped somebody in the back of the head. That's pretty much all we know at this point. Sandy, August is Canton 54. I am so glad you brought that up. Yes, I love summer. First of all, I love summer. Let me just tell you, summer is my favorite season. A lot of where you guys live, you don't have seasons. Florida, we don't have seasons, but where I'm from the Northeast, we have seasons. So it's officially summer. And when I was a kid, I loved summer break. Long story short, I want summer break to fly by because we have an awesome thing coming up in August. So many of you will be part of it. I'll be there as well. We have Zach Thomas, number 54, Dolphin great, being inducted to the NFL Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. And what? A lot of us are still super, his time has come. We hope to get Richmond in there next. But in August, first week of August, myself, Sandy, so many of us, Michael, Biggie, Jason, Allie, tons of us will be heading to Canton, Ohio to get our boy Zach Thomas into the Hall of Fame and all that. I'm super excited to announce that 305SportsTravel, that's our travel agency company with the Dolphins, we will be hosting an awesome get-together on Friday, August 4th from 11 to 1 p.m. at Don Shula's American Kitchen. So I've never been to Canton, but what I heard, it's very small, not much going on. And then when obviously it's NFL Hall of Fame induction week, it gets packed, kind of like other cities where maybe like Daytona where it gets busy during bike week. So this all happens during NFL Hall of Fame week. So Don Shula's, which Shula's has restaurants, different areas. He has one in Orlando, one at the Miami airport. There's Shula's, there's one in Chicago. They launched Don Shula's American Kitchen in Canton, Ohio. They just opened in April. So we reached out. We were able to reserve the perfect season private room for Dolphin fans, right? And it was not easy. I got to tell you, they're obviously, they're going to be super busy that week, but they were graciously willing to work with us. So we're having a party again from 11 to 1 p.m. on Friday, August 4th. There's tons of food. Everyone gets 2 drink tickets. We're going to do Dolphins trivia. There's going to be prizes. Gives you an opportunity to meet Dolphin fans from around the world. Tickets are $80, and it includes all of that. So please, if you guys are in town, and there's very limited tickets available because the room, it's not huge. So please, if you are interested, get your tickets early. I know Sandy already reserved her tickets. Allie reserved her tickets. Big E's coming. Jason's coming. If you definitely want to come to the party, get your tickets early because we are going to sell out probably within the next few weeks, definitely before Canton, and we want you there. It's a great opportunity to get together and celebrate Zach Thomas as we get him to the Hall of Fame. So super, super exciting. Graham's going to be there in spirit, so hopefully we get like a UK flag that we can hang up on behalf of you. I don't know if any of our UK fan club's going to be there. But I know a lot of people will be in town for it, but I don't know if anybody from UK is going to be there. Got my tickets already? Yes, you did. Super excited about that. No, it's going to be a great time. I can't wait to see all you guys there. It's my first time, a lot of people's first time in Canton. Us Dolphin fans don't always get to celebrate something like this. Our players often get cheated out of something like this. So it's really, really exciting to partake in this. Not only just the party that we're going to be hosting, the meet and greet, luncheon, social, but just to be all together, and given the respect and excitement and getting Zach Thomas in there. So I cannot wait for August. And other big news, Messi is coming to Miami. But it's not really Miami, right? Like, Inter Miami does not play in Miami yet. They play in Fort Lauderdale, which is about 35 minutes away. So I don't know if Lionel Messi knows that he's not going to be playing in Miami for at least a year or a year and a half, because our stadium is not in Miami. So Messi, don't know if you know that, but you will not be playing in Miami for the first year. Fort Lauderdale will be your home. Super exciting, right? That team has gone through a lot of ups and downs, coaching changes. It really hasn't had like a big spark. Ticket sales, I mean, it's going to be almost nearly impossible to get those tickets. I know a lot of people who have season tickets just to have them, or whether it's like a corporate write-off. And just as an investment, to just have those season tickets, and just even if they go to 1 or 2 games and they sell the rest, like, it's going to be, it's crazy. It's wild. And we're really excited to have him down here. It just adds to, more and more happening. And that news was released during the NBA finals. So I don't want to say, like, if it was released, like a week later, I feel like it would have been even bigger, but it's kind of like us Heat fans and Panthers fans. And then we hear that, we're like, ooh, excited, but hey, we got the finals going on. But no, really excited to have Messi down here, starting next season. And it just adds to the excitement of soccer and really bringing soccer back into the Miami market, because you'll have the fans here, but to really give it a nice push is exciting. Talking about push and fans, hello Marlins, 3rd best record in the NL right now. Few games behind the Braves, and like, what is happening? There is no better time to be a Marlins fan. Okay, granted, we've won World Series before, but the Marlins this year, and you guys know, I'm going to tell you right now, don't be a fan later. Do not be a fan later. Support these guys, even with the record, even what type of, hot bats we're having, pitching's waking up and everything. Stadium is still very empty. Tickets are cheap. Take your family out there. If you're in town for the weekend, it's worth it. It's one of my favorite ballparks, maybe not per se. I'm more of a Wrigley, Fenway type of girl, but just the excitement and the talent behind this team. I mean, Luis Ariz, he's gone 5 for 5 3 times this year. He batted for the cycle. Then you have a guy like Jorge Soler, who's hot. Even Jazz Chisholm, who is very, and I don't like to say word injury prone, because I use that word a lot with Hua, and, it's a very ugly word. But still, like, when he's hot, Brian De La Cruz. And the pitching's been fantastic. Jesus Luzardo. I mean, there's even Trevor Rod. Even with the injuries, these guys who have come up have done a fantastic job. Sandy is going to see the Marlins against the Padres on August 23rd. Padres are one of those teams where on paper you look at them and it's like, why aren't you guys dominating? And then maybe a team like the Marlins, who, there's some names that people may not know. So, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where don't believe everything you see on paper, just like the Yankees. Like, not everything that's gold shines is pretty much what I'm trying to say, including the Padres and the Yankees. The MLB are in London this weekend. I hope you can get to a game, Graham. I know that baseball isn't huge out there. It's not, and it's one thing here. It's I don't want to say it's a dying sport, because baseball, I love baseball. Baseball was one of my, next to basketball, baseball was the second sport that I fell in love with. But I really hope that it becomes more of an international draw. Obviously, the World Baseball Classic was fantastic, but I do hope that you guys show out this week. I hope that you can make it, because baseball is a beautiful thing, even with these rule changes. Sandy, who do I root for? I live in San Diego, but I love Florida. Okay, so you root for the Marlins. You always root for the Marlins. And you can still admit that Manny Machado's cute, but you root for the Marlins. Definitely. If you need a Marlins swag, I got you too. I got your address. So, but no, what Skip's doing with the organization, Skip has been fantastic. And even like our new closer, Puck, I mean, just the excitement he brings. It's really, I don't want to say a new wave of baseball in Miami, but I'm so proud of what that team's doing. And you guys know, like, I'm up and down with my teams. They bring out the best of me. They bring out the worst of me. But to really see what this organization is shaping out to be, and to hear the respect from these reporters and these broadcasters, and to finally start putting a name back on Miami baseball is fantastic. I've always loved going to the games. The one player that obviously my favorite player on the team is Sandy Alcantara, Cy Young winner last year, and he's struggling this year, but he's not struggling in the sense where like he's just like crapping the bed or anything, but you could tell that it's I don't know if it's in his head or something, but it's like he'll have just one bad inning and then he'll like figure it out. But that one bad inning is so detrimental, but that's also the game of baseball too. So Sandy is the one part of the puzzle that I'm really confident that things will get better. And once that piece of the puzzle really, comes into the franchise, like I can't even imagine what else is in store for the Marlins. But guys, if you can definitely, Sandy's wearing her Yankee hat. How do I kick somebody out of the chat? I'm just kidding. No, Sandy, it's the Yankees have just, again, it's like money can't buy you happiness. Everything that shines isn't gold. I'm giving you like these little tips and tricks, but no, the Yankees are one of those, just like the Padres. I mean, and then you have a team like the Marlins who don't have like the highest, the biggest names on paper or the highest salary caps, but they're doing things and it's exciting. But yeah, if you guys are in town or if you're local, go to a Marlins game. And I'm not just saying that, just to fill the stands, but it's really exciting to see what the team is doing, their success. And the ballpark is a fun place. In right field, we have the Bobblehead Museum. A lot of people don't even know that. There's hundreds of bobbleheads from every team in that museum. It's a showcase, not like our museum. And then we have in our left field out there next behind the Budweiser bar, we have a new museum, Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins History Museum, with tons of great memorabilia throughout the years. I love checking out, and it's all free. So, you go to the ballpark, and some of the food there, it's really unique. They have a cool milkshake stand out in right field. They have a Cuban Giganta, a huge Cuban sandwich, enough for 10 people you can have. And they give a lot of great promotions. The bobbleheads are fantastic jerseys. So I challenge you guys, if you have not been to Lone Depot Park this year, and if you are in the area, get there. Support the team. It's an amazing journey so far, and I'm really excited to see where this leads, but definitely bring the family out there, and you're not going to break the bank for it either. Graham, I would like to go to an MLB game here one day. Maybe the Marlins will come over. The Olympic Stadium they play games at is only 15 miles from our house. Ooh, no kidding. That's so they played in an Olympic stadium, because I figured you guys didn't have like a major baseball stadium, but maybe like a college or something. So we have to get Graham to his first baseball game. So I'm going to start, maybe we'll start a GoFundMe to get Graham here, because baseball, yes, it's America's pastime, but it is a beautiful game. And I know your World Baseball Classic team, your British team didn't do too well, but we would love to host you here for an American baseball game. Sandy, Potter Stadium is amazing. Yeah, Petco Park. No, I've heard from many people that Petco Park is like one of their top stadiums. I hope to surely get there one time this year. Right now, it's projected that I'll be. So within these trips that we have coming up, there's nothing more that I love than to incorporate baseball into it. Even though, like, okay, for example, Zach Thomas and Canton, we're flying into Cleveland. The Cleveland Guardians play there. So we're actually going to see the Cleveland Guardians game that Friday. And guys, like, if you are in town, please join us. We'd love, obviously we're there for Zach Thomas, but why not take advantage of it? So that Friday night during I keep saying NHL. Oh my gosh, my mind is still so hockey. During NFL Hall of Fame induction, there is a Guardians game on that Friday. We'll be there. So we sure hope that you guys can go. And then after that weekend, we're driving to Cincinnati. The Reds are going to be playing the Marlins. So that'll be my first 2 times at the Great American Ballpark and also at Progressive Field. Really excited to see those ballparks. A few weeks later, we're going out to Los Angeles, Andy and Mark and all our amazing friends out there, and to see week 1 Dolphins Chargers. SoFi Stadium, obviously, it's its own entity and everything, but we're going to be catching the Dodgers Padres game on that Monday as well, September 11th. And possibly the Angels as well. So my personal favorite thing, I love ballpark tours, right? There's nothing more with sport. I mean, obviously number 1 is the game, but number 2, I just appreciate ballpark tours so much. I love seeing the ins and outs of it. In college, I was a sport management major, so I really appreciate the operation aspect of it and just the history of it. So definitely some really great ballpark tours coming up. But definitely looking at Dodgers Stadium and then possibly Angels as well. And then the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, obviously the Miami Heat. I touched on this earlier in the show before. You guys know that team is my heart and soul. And I wanted to share a story with you. So obviously we went to a lot of the playoff games, pretty much all of them. And it was wonderful, right? Like Miami Heat fans, they show up, right? We even though people and a lot of chatter, oh, they show up late, they leave early and stuff. I'm an OG. I'm there, through the thick and thin. I can tell you guys that in my existence, I have never cried at a professional game. I've gotten mad, I've thrown things, I've been sad, I've been happy. I've never cried at a sporting game. I'm a pretty emotional woman, like I definitely am secure with my emotions, but it never overwhelmed me. Even Dolphins losses, Dolphins wins, I just never got emotional. For the first time in my life, Game 6, Heat Celtics in Miami, Eastern Conference Finals, where we could have clinched it at home, and we lost. There was a last-second shot. Celtics won. That was the most painful sport moment I have ever felt in my life. And I know you guys have gone through a lot of Dolphin memories and everything, and I'm sure that's just a little drop in the bucket compared to other people's pains and aches with these sporting teams. But that loss, for the first time, I left there and I was in tears. And I truly felt that it was a gut punch. I wanted it so bad, right? We were up and we should have finished it at home, because last year, Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals, they beat us at home. And that's what led them to the NBA Finals. And that was really, I remember just being in the stands and just upset, but not emotional. I was just upset. But Game 6 this year, where we could have finished it at home, and it could have been the real dagger. Like, we already beat the Bruins this year, right? That was a nice dagger, but we could have finished it at home this year. And that would have been our ticket to the NBA Finals, and we didn't do it. From like a last-minute miss, or a last-minute shot that the Celtics made. It was just so overwhelming. Adam in the house. Hey, I caught your show for a second today. I was just kind of in the background. I cried the night Jeter had a walk-off hit in the last game of Yankee Stadium. So you get it, right? Like, there's those emotions in sports where you just, obviously we love the game, we love our team, we love our players, but we remember those times where we just lost it. I'm sure Sandy remembers that Jeter's walk-off hit in Yankee Stadium as well. And I mean, the other thing that I could think of when I came like the closest from possibly crying in sports was Dwayne Wade's retirement, right? Dwayne Wade is my guy and stuff. And even though, UT is his last season, I was upset about that. Dwayne Wade was probably my closest cry. But that Game 6 this year, and at the end of the day, it didn't mean anything, right? Because we went back to TD Garden and we finished that series and we made it to the NBA Finals this year, right? So we made it. Like, all said and done, like, that's what people are going to remember. They're going to remember, hey, 2023, the Miami Heat defeated the Boston Celtics in Game 7 at TD Bank, and that's what led them to the NBA Finals. They're not going to remember Game 6. But I'm going to remember Game 6 because people were so, the Heat will finish it. We're up, and then it just didn't. So it was rough, right? It was really, 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 really rough. And, man, it doesn't matter. We ended up winning the series. We made it to the NBA Finals. We had no business even being there. We were an 8th seed. No one gave us – we had 3% shot. But that hurt. So, anyways, with the Heat, with the postseason, again, I started the show off. We lost against Atlanta Hawks. We ended up winning against the Chicago Bulls, which gave us our foot into the door. We beat Milwaukee Bucks, and that was not even supposed to happen, right? Like, Giannis, and yeah, he fell on his tush and he hurt it and everything. But the Heat have had a lot of really, really bad injuries. Even Tyler Hero, he's a starter. He didn't even, we lost him off. Victor Oladipo. We lost some really great players in the postseason that, could have, really, really helped us. We were rooting for you guys. and a lot of our friends from different sport markets were, right? Like, obviously there's, animosity between different sport markets, but we gained the respect of so many different fans. And they said, hey, you know what? Yeah, we josh around with the Miami teams, but hey, they got something special, bro. And so thank you. We received so many great words of encouragement from so many of our Philly friends, even our New York friends, that it was once we beat the Knicks, I got a lot of, congratulations from my friends from college and everything too. But it was a wonderful ride, and beating the Bucks, that's when I kind of like, I had no expectations going into the postseason. I enjoyed every second of it, and I was kind of like, hey, whatever happens, happens. But after we beat the Bucks, it was like, for me, it was like, oh man. After the Bucks, we had the Knicks, and that series is where that was, to me, I think, a turning point. Yes, the Knicks were a very hard team. They're a scrappy team. They have a lot of talent on the team. The fan base has risen from the dead, and they showed up, and their song "Go New York," you know what I mean? Like, they brought it back, right? And it was great for them to see it and stuff. But that was a pivotal point in the NBA playoffs, because that series is where Jimmy Butler tweaked his ankle. And Jimmy Butler has been the talk of a lot of, postseason. We wouldn't have been where we were without Jimmy Butler, but also we saw different versions of Jimmy Butler throughout the postseason, right? And but it was that series where Jimmy Butler never truly recovered, and you kind of saw it, go on and on and on. Granted, didn't hurt us tremendously. Look, we still made it to the NBA Finals, but that ankle injury was never really disclosed. I don't even want to know about it really, but there was definitely something going on, and it really started there. I was not rooting for you guys versus the Knicks. Fair enough. Fair enough. It was you against the world. A lot of people wanted to see the Knicks win that series, but it was wonderful for us. And I'll tell you one thing. The home game that we went to down here against the Knicks, those Knicks fans showed up, man, right? But one thing I noticed, like, they don't have like recent jerseys. Like, they don't have Brunson jerseys or any of that. Like, everything was like Sprewell, Carmelo Anthony. I was like, these guys, like, they're so stuck in the past. Like, I'll wear I have a beautiful Dwayne Wade dress that I love wearing to the games. And sometimes I'm like, all right, well, he's not playing anymore. But, respect. But those Knicks fans, I didn't see one Knicks jersey of a relevant player. So that team's very much still stuck in the 90s. So there's a lot of catching up still to do. But Ewing, Anthony, absolutely. Yeah, Ewing was Carmelo Anthony, Sprewell. There was a lot of Sprewell jerseys and stuff. But they showed up, and then after we played our buddies, our friends, Philadelphia 76ers, and that was a very tough series as well. That was an interesting. No, I'm lying to you. I'm sorry. We did not play the Philadelphia 76ers. Sorry, I just had a moment. You guys lost against. Sorry, my mind. You guys lost against the Celtics. That was not a jab either. You guys lost against the Celtics, and that's what led us to play the Celtics. People ask me, hey, would you have rather played the Celtics or would you rather play the 76ers? both hard teams, right? Very, very hard teams. Obviously, the 76ers, you guys fired your coach right after this your playoff run. And even with the Celtics coach, I personally don't think it's a good fit. I feel like there's a lot of animosity in it, whatever. But both organizations were we knew they were going to be tough. And the fact that we pulled out as Eastern Conference champs is just wonderful. I will tell you that it hasn't really sunken into me yet that Udonis Haslem will not be there next year. When I look at Heat basketball, I became a fan of Miami Heat in 2007. All I know is Udonis Haslem. So for him not to be there, and, obviously we wish him the best, and I'm sure we know, like, the Heat, obviously Pat Riley, he had a press conference the other day. He said, like, there will be something with Udonis Haslem, whether it's coaching or something in the higher offices or whatever. But it hasn't really sunk in that UD will not be there next year. So, and one thing, going to the press conference, Pat Riley, he made it very clear. He's not going to take our team and explode it, meaning he's not going to go clean house. Yes, there will be changes. Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, those are all names that have been, circulating. Hey, what's going to happen? Not sure the Heat would have had an answer for Embiid. He would have been very, 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 very tough to stop. And even like in the paint, Bam Adebayo, he was a roller coaster. He had games where you had Bam 2.0, and you had games where it's like you wanted to remind Bam that we were in the playoffs. Embiid would have been a problem to stop. Embiid would have been very, very, very tough to stop. But no, with the Heat's future, obviously the draft is tomorrow. I love personally the NBA draft. Last year we drafted, our little Serbian, our guy who didn't get much playing time this year. But the NBA draft, it's always an excitement. We have a mid-range, mid-number draft this year. So I plan to be at the draft party tomorrow. Guys, if you are in town, the Kaseya Center, I know it's still weird to say, but where the Heat play, we have a draft party. It's free. Parking's $10, but they have like food, drinks, entertainment. The dancers will be there. Bernie will be there. And they have the draft live on the big screen. So if you guys are in the area, definitely head over to the Kaseya Center starting at 7 o'clock p.m. And but no, the NBA draft, I love it. It's a really, really good time, especially, you follow these guys in college, and then you get some of these international players that are just like, who's this 6'11" guy from France that we never heard of? So I'm really looking forward to the NBA draft tomorrow. Portland making a push for Bam. So, people have also asked me, what's your opinion with Bam Adebayo and stuff? And I love Bam when he's good, and when he's not good, I don't like him. We saw, again, different versions of Bam's in the postseason. Would a new big man be a make or break for the Heat? Possibly. To have a real strong presence of somebody who would be consistent in the paint. Bam missed a lot of shots in the paint in the postseason. A lot. And I'm talking, not at necessarily the free throw line. I'm talking within a few feet from the rim. And it was frustrating, right? It's like, come on, Bam, you have one job. You are a center. You need to make these shots. So, that is talks that Bam is also maybe on the chopping block, but I've heard more of like a Max Strus, go figure. My favorite players, Max Strus, Duncan, and Victor Oladipo. But again, Pat Riley and the organization is not going to come and take a mine train and just, it's not going to happen. It's going to be felt because our organization's so tight and we have such a good team with a lot of chemistry. And obviously when it's not like we have a Ben Simmons is what I'm trying to say. We don't have a bad apple on the team. We really don't have a bad apple on the team. But there are changes that need to be made to make us that NBA champion. We want that. We wanted it this year. And, congratulations where congratulations is due. Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets. Congratulations to, the Vegas Knights and stuff. But we wanted it, right? Like, we didn't get that far just to get that far. So, I love Pat Riley. I love our organizations from the top to the bottom, and I'll support any, decision that is made from now to the season. Will I be happy with it? No. Do not get rid of Max Strus. Do not get rid of Duncan Robinson. But obviously, I trust and I believe that whatever will be done in the best interest of the franchise, and to, continue to grow our organization and to continue to make the mark. We've been around for 34 years. We're not one of these organizations who've been around since the 50s and the 60s. So for our little span of existence, we've done great. Calvin, hey you, is Bernie okay now? Gosh. Oh my goodness. So we were actually at that game when that happened. During the playoff games, I don't like to leave the seat, right? Like, I just like to see everything going on. So Conor McGregor was there, and he, from what it seemed like, it was between quarters. He came out and it looked like he was promoting like his new drink company. So it's like one of those drinks like Bang or Celsius. So it looked like that's kind of like what was happening, that he was promoting it. And so Bernie was out there, and Bernie is our mascot. For you guys who may or may not know, Bernie is a personal friend of ours. We know him very well, and a great mascot. Maybe I'm biased, but he's a great, great mascot. And so Bernie comes out with McGregor, and Bernie has like his like WWE champion thing, and just like pumping people up. So from what we're seeing, it looks like Conor McGregor comes and he's like pumped up and gives Bernie a right hook, and Bernie takes a fall back. And the thing is, Bernie's like really good at what he does. He's very animated, so it looks like, hey, it's part of the act. and then Bernie's on the ground, and then Connor comes and gives him another right hook. And then Bernie gets dragged out. So at that point, we're still thinking like, okay, like part of the show, Conor McGregor knocks out Bernie. Cool, whatever. And, like we're like booing him, like not, he's not the most likable guy. So here we are booing him. Boo. Bernie's getting not wheeled out, but they take him and they he's dragged out. So we're all thinking it's part of the show, but it kind of like pumps us up, thinking like, whatever. So the game ends, and I get a notification on my phone. Miami Heat mascot sent to the emergency room, blah, 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 blah. Wait, what? But you think about it, like that happened, I think it was in the third. He never came back in the fourth. And the fourth is when Bernie comes with like the flag and he's like really pumped and everything. Bernie never returned. So basically that hit from Connor, whether the first or second one, hurt our buddy, Bernie. And he ended up going to the hospital and, thanks be to God, everything turned out to be okay. But he was sent home with like pain medication and everything. And then obviously the whole other story coming out with Conor McGregor that I don't even want to get into. But Connor, stay away from Kaseya Center. Flo Rida, DJ Khaled, Coach McDaniel, you guys are messy. All you guys are welcome. Conor McGregor, stay away. You have no business being there. You're trouble. I have no respect for you. First of all, I have no respect. I mean, obviously the whole story with that girl, allegations, whatever. But from what we know, you knocked out our mascot. And I don't care how much of the script was. So Conor McGregor, on behalf of me and Heat Nation, you are not welcome back to the Kaseya Center. But yeah, no, the Heat's journey. Obviously, you guys know I'm a diehard Heat fan. I love that team with all of my might and all of my being. And I'm not sad, right? Like, I'm not sad that we didn't win the finals. I'm so grateful for the journey and the respect and just beating the odds time after time. And all the haters saying, oh, you guys aren't going to beat Milwaukee. You guys aren't going to beat New York. You guys aren't going to beat Boston. And then for us just to keep, and guys like Caleb Martin, Haywood Heitzman, like, you know what I mean? Gabe Vincent, like these guys, some of them undrafted. And I hate it when these sports reporters would say like undrafted because I feel like it doesn't give them that much respect. But at the end of the day, these guys were undrafted. And Duncan Robinson, and look at the success. And look, they stepped up. And the Heat's one of the Heat's motto. Yeah, Heat culture and everything. But what we say is next man up. And, when Tyler Hero got hurt, next guy came up. Bam Adebayo, then you had York 7. You know what I mean? Like, it was not York 7. It was York 7. Like, it was always next man up and just progressed and progressed and progressed and progressed and progressed. And it was a beautiful story. And I cannot wait until already the Heat season next season. I'm excited. I'm excited for the Dolphin season. I feel like I've neglected the Dolphins in the offseason just because of the Panthers and the Heat. I have a new outfit. I think I'm going to retire the white skirt. Obviously, you guys know me with my white skirt and the Dolphin sports bra, and obviously the stickers and everything. But I think I'm testing new waters. I think, new Dolphin season. I'm trying out new outfits, but I'm excited. I really, really am excited. And, the AFC East is a powerhouse. Obviously, we know what the Bills, Jets, we don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. Really, Patriots, I'm really not worried about them. But obviously, the Bills are still the Bills. And then we still have, we're playing week 1. We start out in LA against the Chargers. Like, Justin Herbert's nothing to joke about, and yeah, we have some games that should be easy. Like, we should have no problem against Washington. We should have no problem against Baltimore late in the season. Lamar should be very beat up by then. But I'm really, really, really excited to see what the Dolphins do. Obviously, the Jalen Ramsey pickup in the offseason was huge. Vic Fangio is almost even bigger, right? And we're excited to see, with Tua, he's done jiu-jitsu lessons, so he knows how to fall. So we're excited about that. And obviously continuing to see people like Jalen Waddle and Jalen Phillips grow. It's been like, we drafted them the same year, and to see them progress has just been a great journey. So I'm personally super excited for the Dolphin season. Sandy says, Rodgers is doing nothing. Jets suck. They sure do suck. And I sure hope that it's just another chapter in Jets history where it's just like nothing. But we just don't know, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys where it's like, Does he still have gas in the tank? But I'm not worried about it. I think personally we're going to split with the Jets. I think we're going to take 2 from the Patriots, and I think we're going to split with the Bills. I think that's kind of my AFC East prediction this year. I mean, we play against the Giants this year. Giants are a funny team. I gave you guys a schedule prediction. I've been on other shows with that. I can do it again, but we're going to be fine this year. I'm really excited for it. And the games that I will go into, pretty much all the home games in Miami should be there. And then the away games that you can find me at LA, we're in the process of trying to plan something at the Coliseum. As you guys know, 1972 Coliseum is where our 1972 perfect season was concluded. We won the Super Bowl in 1972 at the Coliseum. So trying to plan like a Dolphins get together there. Stay tuned for that. More information will be coming about that. So we will be going to LA for the Dolphins Chargers game. Week after that, we are going to go to Gillette. I've never been to Gillette. I love the city of Boston. You guys know I love my Red Sox. So we will be going to week 2 against the Patriots, and then we are going to be going to MetLife Takeover Black Friday in New Jersey. So those are the 3 away games that you could definitely find us. I'm really excited about that. Adam, I looked at your division with the assumption that Rodgers stays committed and healthy, with Tua also staying healthy. To me, that puts both of you battling for division title. And that's pretty much the consensus, right? It's really going to come down to quarterback, right? Can Tua stay healthy, or does Aaron Rodgers still has gas in the tank? I think Dolphins on paper is a better team. I mean, yes, the Jets have talent. Sauce Gardner is a really great player, but then you look at us. I think Tyreek Hill, Waddle, and then even our defense, Xavier Howard, and just there's a lot going more with the Dolphins. But you are absolutely right that a lot of people are saying that it's going to come down to a quarterback thing, and that's the game of football, right? Like, we see that, and I pray and I hope that Tua stays healthy, because the backup situations, whether it was Jacoby Brissett or was it Teddy Bridgewater, or we have Mike White now, but we don't have a stud backup quarterback. So pretty much it's Tua or nothing this year in my eyes, right? If Tua is that guy, this is the year to do it, because I'm not cashing in my pennies on a backup quarterback to get us through the season again. So we'll see. But yeah, no, I'm really, I love football. You guys know football is me, right? But it's been such an amazing off season again with the Dolphins and the Panthers, and even going back to like March Madness with FAU and the Canes. It's been fantastic. So I slowly want to tell you, I'm like a horse of blinders. I saw the Belmont Stakes last week, but I want to be a horse of blinders and start focusing on Dolphin football. So I'm challenging you guys to keep the Dolphin spirit alive in me, and to make sure we stay focused. And I mean, it's an easy thing, right? Like, I love the team, and I hope you guys are just as excited as me for Dolphins football. It's going to be a great season. I've missed you guys tremendously. Cannot wait to see you all again, starting in Canton in August. We have the party Friday night Friday morning, pretty much 11 at Shula's, and then seeing you guys all weekend celebrating Zach Thomas, and then in LA home games, Dolphins camp. It's fantastic. Adam says Bills are primed for a big step backwards, and the Pats thing. No, you are right. Like, the AFC East, like, we have that path. Like, again, on paper, like, you see people like a Josh Allen and stuff like that, and yeah, the Bills, whatever. But this really could be our year to make that mark, win the division in the AFC East, and then progress forward, because the wild card spots are just a pain in the butt. So, no, I think the Bills, they obviously they had issues with people even showing up for camp and stuff. We all know what's going on there, but we'll see what happens. But anyways, guys, it has been fantastic. I've missed you tremendously. I hope I haven't talked your ear away, but there's just so much that has been happening with all the teams. And obviously, we spoke about Messi coming to Fort Lauderdale. It's really not Miami. Panthers, fantastic run. Even with Matthew Chuck having that injury, it was just fantastic. And obviously the Heat, NBA draft tomorrow. And then the Marlins, third in the NL. Luis Arise. Vote. This is how I'm going to close. And I never thought I'd close like this. I'm closing the podcast by telling you, vote for Luis Arise and Jorge Soler in the All-Star game. Do make sure they don't get robbed. Please, these guys have had, especially Luis Arraez. I mean, the guy's gone 5 for 5 3 times. He's batted the cycle. He's amazing. He just, please, vote. And I'm not one to, push a political agenda on anybody. You guys know that I'm very, whatever, with religion, everything, but I'm pushing a political agenda on you right now. You better. Good night, Sandy. Have a good night. Love you. You better vote for Luis Arraez and Jorge Soler. Sandy, okay, not this year, right now at least. So I'm not gonna plead the case to vote for Sandy because he's my favorite Marlin. But Luis Arraez and Jorge Soler, vote for them. Show them their respect. They are putting up tremendous numbers. So, anyways, guys, it has been fun. No, I'm not going to watch a playoff game or anything. Just watch some Netflix, some really good things. But I've really enjoyed hanging out with you guys tonight. I've missed you. This was great. Thank you. Oh, thank you guys. And definitely moving forward, I plan to have some really great guests on the show, working with some big names. My co-host Luke could not be on the show tonight. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. And until then, fins up. Let's go Dolphins. Let's go Heat. Let's go Marlins. Let's go Panthers. And welcome to Miami, Messi. Take care, guys. Good night. Bye.